Happy Thanksgiving. Welcome to Cityline's annual Thanksgiving tradition. And we have some wonderful folks in the house today that left all of their Thanksgiving goings on to be here and talk about our wonderful city. So let me tell you who you're going to have today. We are going to have Kareem Candy later on. He'll be here to talk about some of the holiday places that you can see him. Mary Michael Stump. She is the Director of Exhibitions and Programs for Washington State History Museum. And I love her to death. She's going to be in the house talking about a lot of their exhibits they have going on, because nothing says holiday like taking your family to a museum. Tacoma Concert Band, Gerard and Morris are here to talk about the upcoming holiday concert. And with me is someone who needs no introduction. I love this man because he takes care of our children's education and makes it so easy. I'm talking about Luke Miner. You are the director of the Washington College Savings Plan. Welcome back.
Thanks, Amanda. So great to be here.
Last time I saw you, we were Zooming.
Oh yeah, definitely. And you know, we are actually still working from home in our office, but so I was so excited for the opportunity to be here with you today.
I love that. You got and look at the socks. Can we have a sock cam here?
Yep.
You haven't missed a beat as you've been remote. You even remembered sock cam, and I want to say happy Thanksgiving to you.
Happy Thanksgiving to you as well.
Okay, I need to pry into your Thanksgiving habits.
Okay.
Are you a stuffing person, or are you a mashed potato person?
Ooh.
Or both?
Well, both, but I think there's an easy winner between the two for me. It's stuffing, but gravy comes regardless of whether it's mashed potatoes or stuffing. There's always got to be gravy involved.
You're right.
Stuffing all the way.
And what time is dinner?
It's about just a couple hours from now.
Okay, I'll be over.
I'm getting things ready.
I'll be over.
Yeah,
good.
All right.
So, when we think about savings for our students' future education, and this question may seem kind of just no-brainer, but why is it a good education, and can't the cost of a student's education in this day and age be covered by student loans when the time comes?
Right, that's a great question, and this is coming up a lot now because of talks about student loan forgiveness and that kind of thing. The reality for most families is that you're not going to be able to pay for a college experience out of pocket. Most families can't do that, and relying on student loans is not the best idea, because that is money you're borrowing. There's interest associated with it, and you pay back later. So this active saving early really sets you up for a better financial outcome for your student. It can reduce the stress. We know that there are students who don't make it through, even if they get to college, they may not get through to completion, and it's often because of financial stress. So relying on those student loans is not the ideal circumstance for families, starting early and saving. And the other really important and powerful thing about this active saving is it helps, especially if families start this young, when we're talking to students in grade school or younger. You're already beginning that college-going conversation. You're building a college-going identity within that student. And there are studies that show the impact that not only the money that you accumulate, but more the active saving, the intentionality, the conversation, is inspiring a student to follow their ambitions and dreams to ultimately get the career opportunity they're looking for.
We were talking earlier about how if you have a family that does not have any college graduates, the first time somebody breaks that ceiling, they pave the way for all the people who are coming behind them to have a college degree as well. So there's that wonderful shift that happens. Tell us about the College Savings Plan WA 529 offers. Or WA 529.
Yeah, WA 529 is the state's two college savings programs. So we actually have two plans within our broader program. One is called the Guaranteed Education Tuition, or GET program, as some people might know it. We've been around for a couple decades offering prepaid tuition to families, and that essentially a family can buy tuition today, and no matter how much it goes up in the future, you've already prepaid that expense, and it's there waiting for your student. So, and it's backed by the full faith and credit of the state of Washington, so there's a lot of peace of mind and security associated with that program. A newer program we have, the Dream Ahead College Investment Plan, we opened 4 years ago, offers more savings options for families. They are investment-based options, so there is some risk associated with that, so we always want to make sure people are aware. But you can find, there's a lot more customizability in your savings strategy, so especially families who are accustomed to saving in 401k retirement
Yes.
plans, and you pick from a lineup of investment options. This is very similar, but it's specifically dedicated to college, and you get tax benefits when you use it for those college expenses.
Oh, we like that. So how much does it take to get started with a Get or Dream Ahead? Because you talk about starting early and when it just becomes a habit. So how much do we need to light that match to get that college education?
Great question, and we try to keep the barrier really low for families. With Dream Ahead, it's $25. That's the minimum contribution, and then you can set up ongoing contributions as small as $25 a month. With the Get program, we have what are called tuition units, and one tuition unit today is $116, and so that's the minimum point of entry for families. But once you've purchased that first unit, you don't even have to buy full units. Like Dream Ahead, you can do a $25 a month contribution or something like that, and it will just accumulate units at whatever rate we are selling them for in a given year.
And I have heard that the price of a Get unit is exactly the same. Let's say I have a 2-year-old. When my 2-year-old gets to be 18, it's still going to be that number that you said. It's not going to ever change.
Exactly. So you really are prepaying future tuition at today's prices. And it is really unique in the last couple of years. The legislature has managed to keep tuition growth on a more predictable course than they did historically. And we're able to pass that stability back to families in the form of keeping our pricing low and right in line with tuition without a premium. So families know that if they buy tuition units today, whether they have a newborn or whether they have a 10-year-old, that's, again, tuition that they've prepaid, and it's just going to increase over time as college tuition increases.
Oh, as everything is increasing now. As we are coming out of COVID, the cost of living, as all of us know, food, childcare, gas is just going through the roof. So this is a great way to lock in that price. And then to let the rest of your family members know that it's the holidays and you could buy units or you could donate $25 to the Dream Ahead Foundation. Why is using Get or Dream Ahead better than a regular savings account?
So in several ways, I mentioned there's tax benefits with the programs, and so all the money you save in a Get or Dream Ahead account grows tax-free, and those earnings stay tax-free when you use it for qualified higher education expenses. And we haven't really talked about the flexibility of these plans. We talk about Get being tied to tuition, but both plans are much broader than that. It can cover tuition, room and board, books, supplies, and we're not just talking 4-year college in the traditional sense. 2-year community college, technical and trade programs, even apprenticeship programs, tools and other expenses associated with that, you can apply these funds towards. So it creates a lot of flexibility and gives families peace of mind that even if they don't know what their student's path is, there's a good chance to get the job they ultimately want. They're going to need something after high school, something that makes them career ready, and we've continued to adapt the plans over the years to be responsive to that and know that every pathway is different for students.
That's incredible. So if you are somebody who perhaps is not geared toward the latest headlines, and if you haven't seen that student loan forgiveness is everywhere now. It is above the fold. Everybody's talking about it. And some people may just be saying right now, so why should I save when I can just take out a student loan that perhaps might be eventually forgiven?
Yeah, it's a great question. And right now there is kind of a lot of certainty in that area. And the reality is that the whole idea of student loan forgiveness is because of this crushing debt burden that is out there on families. There's $1.7 trillion in student loan debt. It's one of the biggest forms of debt that's out there right now. And I know countless coworkers who are still, they are thinking about saving for their kids, or they are, and they're competing with having to repay their student loans. And we know that there's been court challenges already to the student loan forgiveness. There's a lot of negotiating that goes on, and so far nothing has been offered that for most families would actually eliminate all debt that they have. It would take out a portion of it. And the whole loan model it's an important tool to help pay for higher education in the current state of things. It's something that families need to rely on. And what we're trying to do with savings is reduce the amount that you have to borrow to reduce those fees you're going to have to pay associated with taking the loan out. So every dollar you save today is $1 or more you don't have to borrow in the future with interest.
Absolutely. And when we talk about fees, and this time I have remembered to ask you about this. I was shocked when my child was applying for colleges. It costs to apply for a college. You have to send in $100, $150 with your application. And I thought to myself, wow, Get or Dream Ahead would be really good for that.
Yeah, so those actually are some fees that we don't cover with the programs.
I was wrong.
But if you're making those savings and you know that you're not going to be having to pay those tuition bills out of pocket, it hopefully will free up for families more of that cash they have in their pocket to pay for those other expenses that kind of come before the college experience starts.
Kind of move the budget this way, yeah. So what if, two things, because time waits for no one. What if my child decides, I don't want to go to college? Or what if my child decides to move to Paris? What happens to the money in the accounts then?
Yeah, the great thing about these accounts is the flexibility. I mentioned the different types of education and expenses you can use them for, but you can also use them all over the country. So people often worry that if you participate in a Washington college savings plan, you can only use it in Washington, but you can use it across the country, even in other countries, as long as they participate in federal financial aid programs. But if a student, say, gets a scholarship or they want to take a gap year and you're not sure if they're going to use it, the money is there. It's money you've saved. It's accessible to you, but we recommend families wait for the maximum tax benefit. See if your student can use it. Worst case scenario is you can transfer it to a family member, a sibling who might be able to use the funds. And ultimately, if you can't find a tax advantage way to spend the money for those higher education expenses, you can get your money back out and you would lose the tax benefits in that case. But most families we find are able to find an outlet. Their student changes their mind, or if they think they get that scholarship, there's a lot more expenses that the scholarship won't cover. So most families are able to put it to use, but they can take comfort in knowing that the money that they've saved is still there, it's grown over time, and they will only have to consider tax consequences on the earnings if it's not used for college.
It's safe, in other words.
Yes, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Luke, whenever I'm with you, I think how lucky we are to have you in this position, because you make saving for college sound as simple as making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So I say thank you for your brilliant simplicity, and I also want to say happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you. I really appreciate you having us on.
My pleasure. When we come back after a little bit of musical chairs, we will have Tacoma Concert Band in the house. You don't want to miss that. We'll be right back.